How's it going? Happy Wealthy Wednesday. I'm Traveler Charlie. I'm a trans Latinx money coach helping my LGBT, BIPOC, neurospicy, eldest daughter, first gen clients, all of the above, especially if you're not a cishet woman. I help you build wealth and I help you build a six-figure retirement without ever needing to make six figures. I myself have never made more than 45K at the 9 to 5. I've never paid myself that as a business owner, and I've already reached 250K net worth by 35 because I know exactly how to optimize every dollar, whether I put it in cash. I know how to crush my debt like a boss without being afraid of it, and I know how to invest myself without ever needing to hire a financial advisor the easy way, and that's what I help all my clients do in my 6-month money coaching program. So I'm going to put here, and I'm going to pin in the chat to ask your mid-year money check-in questions in the chat. Pin that ish. Okay. And I'm going to post this replay, but if you should be on my podcast, not if, but like you should absolutely be listening to and subscribing to my Unicorn Millionaire Podcast. And I post these replays of my Wealthy Wednesday IG Lives that I go live every Wednesday at 10 a.m. PT, 1 p.m. ET and answer your questions. And then I turn them into podcast episodes that you can listen to on demand. Thank you to everybody who's listened, who's reviewed my podcast, who's shared, who's tagged me and shared in their stories. To spread the good word about my podcast. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and restart as if I'm starting the podcast episode. All right. Hey, y'all. How's it going? I'm super excited to be back recording these podcast episodes. I've taken weeks off of my business and had the most delicious vacation time ever, and it's been long overdue. I actually did not really take any actual time off until this year of my business, and I started my business in 2020. So it took me 6 years to actually start taking time off in my business, and that's thanks to my business coach, Kirsten Roldan. And when she first told me to take 3 weeks off a quarter, I was like, but my business will crash and burn. Everyone will die. My clients will hate me. And then when I actually did it, I realized, wow, this is the point of building wealth, is to rest. And I love resting, and also gave me a snapshot into what retirement looks like. Because the point of building wealth is to retire. The point of building wealth is to not have to work forever. The point of building wealth is to be work optional. Like, I don't have a retirement date. I'm not like, oh, I'm going to retire by 47 and then chill on the beach. No, I'm going to be retired as in I work because I want to, not because I have to. So the age doesn't matter very much because I'm a 35 and I already love what I do. And I am already taking 3 weeks off a quarter, which is what, like 2 months off a year. Like past me could never have imagined that I'd be taking this much time off, but it's all thanks to my money habits and my mindset and investing in myself, investing in the stock market. And so what better time to check in and have like a money date with yourself, since this is July, we're halfway through the year. So I just want to walk you through the 3 questions you should be asking yourself to make sure that you're on track to being work optional, getting your money together so you can be the rich gay auntie or uncle of your dreams who collapses your timeline to retirement, no matter what the fuck this economy is doing, no matter what AI is doing, no matter who's president right now, because it's a mess right now. We have to stay focused on what we can control and stop comparing ourselves to others, because you never know how much money other people have inherited. You never know how much money other people have in debt, how much people are going in debt to buy houses and cars that they actually don't want, but they need to show off to pretend that they're good. Like, we're not about that life. I'm all about helping you empower yourself, depending on your situation, your privileges, and how you've been marginalized, so that you can focus on what you can control for yourself. So once you build wealth for yourself and take care of yourself, you're better able to help others. Money is power. Money does buy happiness. The more wealth I build, the more I realize money absolutely 100% does buy happiness. It does buy security. It helps you say no to relationships, to jobs, to countries, to situations that you would not be otherwise able to say no to if you didn't have the money to leave. It also helps you say yes to pleasure, yes to experiences that do light you up, yes to experiences and self-care, like the weekly massages that I invest in, that I spend about $400 a month on. I can't see myself not doing that anymore. That's non-negotiable to me, because the better I take care of myself, the more peacefully I build wealth. And that is the goal. That is where I'm at the 250K level. I'm at a place where I'm able to feel better about my money, and I still have to coach myself on my money mindset all the time, because making more does not help you feel relaxed unless you do the intentional work that comes along with building wealth. Because I see people making six figures that have so much money. I've seen millionaires who still feel terrified of the stock market, or like they're going to lose it all, because they haven't done the work to undo a lot of the scarcity patterns and thoughts they've inherited from their parents, and whose their parents have inherited from their parents. So you got to do both. Work on your mindset and actually make the money moves that will help you build wealth, so you can be work optional. All right, so it's our mid-year money check-in. And the first question that I want to ask you is, where the fuck is your cash parked? This is the first question I ask all my clients that work with me for 6 months. We start with cash, because once you're able to better move your cash to the right place, then you can invest better. But we always start with cash, because if you're not maximize every dollar with where your cash is sitting, you're not going to be maximizing your investment. So it all starts there with good old cash. Is your cash sitting in a crappy checking account at Wells Fargo, Bank of America, Chase Bank, Citibank? Any of these big banks that are publicly traded are not paying you any interest, because they're passing off their profit to their shareholders instead of to you. So I've had clients earn pennies in interest, because they've had anywhere from 5K to 100K to 300K rotting in checking accounts at Bank of America, or even in savings accounts. The interest rates are crap in them. So whether it's checking or savings, you're still earning pennies. And the first thing we do is we move all that money into a high yield savings account. I used to have less than $5,000 at a time back when I lived in Mexico, because the cost of living was so low. So I used to bank with Ally. Ally's cute. If you have less than 5K minimum in cash, then I would go ahead and start with Ally. They have good customer service. They don't penalize you for being poor. They don't penalize you for having $2 in your account like Bank of America. They don't deal with these stupid account minimum fees that these big banks love to do, because they're all about what? Maximizing profit over profit for their shareholders over profit for you. So yeah, that's the first thing we do. Dump your big bank that you know you need to break up with, that you've been wanting to break up with for years, and open that high yield savings account. It takes 10 minutes to open that account, so that you can go from making pennies to thousands of dollars and $10,000s of dollars in interest down the line. And that extra $10,000 that you're making in interest from your savings that's sitting there anyway every day, you can invest that money and actually grow it. If you invest 10K, it'll grow to 100K if you know where to invest it correctly, which we'll get to that later. So where is your cash parked? And also, I encourage you to apply the high yield hottie method. That is your challenge. Open a high yield savings account. If you have 5K in cash or more, then open the CIT Platinum Savings Account. Right now, interest rate for that one is about 4.1%, and I believe they have a promo on their website at the time of this recording where they'll give you an extra 0.35% boost for 6 months if you open. And every dollar matters. Percentage rates are everything. Whenever people ask me, what do you think about this high yield savings account? It's always about the interest rate and do they charge you fees? You should not be paying money to store your cash at a bank. They should be paying you. So you should not be paying money for your bank to sit there, because banks are taking the money that you are storing with them and they are lending it out to other people for way higher interest rates. So they are benefiting from just having your cash in the first place, and they should not be charging you for it at all. So I like high yield savings accounts because they pass off their savings onto you. They don't have physical branches. that are really obsolete. Ever since opening my high yield savings accounts, not once have I been like, oh, I wish I could take time to go to a bank and wait in line. No, I just call if I need something and my issue is resolved in 10 minutes. So just because you can see the physical bank like Wells Fargo does not mean it's safer. A lot of, especially my Latinx clients, are like, but I like to be able to see the bank, therefore my money is secure. And it's like, no, not at all. Wells Fargo was involved in the ghost account scandal, where it scammed millions of people, especially Spanish-speaking Latinos, into creating fake ghost accounts so that management could get bonuses and pay raises. And because our government prefers corporations over people, Wells Fargo is still out here in these streets. They just got away with a slap on the wrist, but they're still out here scamming people with their predatory interest rates, or lack of interest rates too. So yeah, that's the first thing I would do during your mid-year check-in, is be really real with yourself. Do you want your cash to continue rotting there? Because if it is, it's not generating interest and you will have to work longer than you should or than you want to, just because your cash isn't in the right place and it could be moved in 10 minutes. Every day matters. And it's important to build a habit now rather than fixating on the amount. Some people are like, well, it's not worth it because I only have 10K. And it's like, it's not about that. I myself have about 250, 260K net worth total, and only about 15K of that is cash. I don't have a lot of cash. Even if it's in a high yield savings account, that money is not growing a lot, but the little cash I do have, you bet it's in the place where it is growing the most. The way to grow your money is by investing it in the stock market. You think 4% is a lot? Wait till you get the 71% gains that I've seen in the stock market after being a consistent long-term investor. Like, it still blows my mind that I invested in stock that I bought in 2021 and I sold it like 6 years later and it grew by 71%. I bought that stock for like 3K and it grew to 5K just by sitting there, just because I knew that I should have been investing, and by clicking buttons, and I made money that way, which is my favorite. I love making money without doing anything. I love passive income, but you also have to know what you're investing in. I don't do any of this day trading stuff or GameStop or Bitcoin. Nah, I invest in those boring low-cost index funds that never go viral because they do their job. So yeah, that's the first thing I would do, is get real about where to store your cash. And if you know that you need help, you need help when you know you've been needing to open a high yield savings, but you just haven't because you need the accountability, then you should definitely book a sales call and chat with me about starting 6-month coaching. If you start now, then you'll crush the year, end the year by crushing all your money goals too, because coaching is 6 months. So that's the first thing that I would help you with in my 6-month coaching program. After call 1, you're opening the high yield savings account, and then you're realizing that, damn, I'm going from making pennies to thousands in interest, like right away, just by moving cash to the right place. Okay. So the second thing I would ask myself in a mid-year money check-in is, where is my debt? If you don't have debt, there's no shame in being in debt. I myself never have had personal credit card debt, but I have business credit card debt. And I just checked the amount today across 2 cards. I have like $16,000 in business credit card debt that I took out almost a year ago, but I'm not paying any interest on it. And I used debt to grow my business, because in October, I took out like $12,000 across 2 credit cards, and I immediately made hundreds of dollars back because I took advantage of the bonus intro offers. So when you open credit cards up, they're like, spend $6K in 3 months and we'll give you $500. I always take advantage of those perks, and in my personal life and for my business. So I knew I was going to have to spend $12,000 in an amazing business coaching program, $1 Million CEO with Kirsten Rodan. As an investor, I'm like, damn, I'm going to grow so much because this coaching program is a year, and I'm going to learn so many things being surrounded by all of these millionaires, business owners that I cannot ever meet in the 3D because we're all online and we are a rare breed. I need to be around my people. I know I'm going to make my investment back. But I also want to get paid to spend money because I know how to leverage debt. I know how to leverage credit cards. So yeah, I put the $12,000 across 2 credit cards, made hundreds of dollars immediately in bonus intro offers to pay off my investment. And then I decided to not pay off my credit cards immediately because I took out 0% intro APR cards. And I'm not doing that because I can't pay off those cards. I could pay off those cards immediately, but I'm choosing not to, because why would I pay off the cards if I'm not being charged interest? If the bank's not charging me for lending me that money yet, then I'm going to go off and invest that money instead back into my business, invest in my retirement accounts. Like so far this year in sales, I've made like 26K, and 20K of that has hit my bank account. And I've invested more than that, more than half of that. Damn, now that I think about it, I've invested like $11,500 in my retirement accounts, which is like, damn, I'm a boss. Whenever I say these things aloud, I'm like, damn, I could do even more. Like, this is me kind of like with my Virgo chillin' self. And that's something I'm working on, is not being so complacent, because I feel like my 50% is most people's 100%. If you know, you know. If you're like an overachiever that was an A student and it was easy for you, like, you're like, yeah, but this is easy though. But I remember my teachers being like, you're so smart, but you can get lazy sometimes. And I was like, damn, you're right. So I'm calling myself out. But yeah, I've already invested like $11,500 in my retirement accounts. Which is wild to me, but that's the beauty of knowing how to leverage debt instead of being afraid of it. It's one thing to leverage debt because, like I'm saying, I know that I'm not paying interest and I know what I'm doing with my money in the meantime. This is what millionaires and billionaires do all the time. They buy houses and they borrow money. They take out mortgages to buy houses when they could pay in cash because they know how to grow their money instead of just paying for things in cash. Or sometimes they decide to sell some stock and pay for houses in cash. If you've seen Selling Sunset, the houses that do get sold faster are the ones where the buyer is offering to pay in cash because it's immediate. But that doesn't always happen. It was kind of a rare situation. If you watch those real estate shows, like, it's a big rare deal for them to offer in cash. So yeah, I'm just mentioning these things to show you that it's not a bad thing to use debt, to leverage debt, to take out debt, as long as you're being intentional with it. So if you're about half of my clients who have debt, there's no shame in that. But what I find with clients who come to me with debt is that they feel ashamed and they don't know their interest rates. They have student loan debt, and then we find out because in the very first net worth party, it's our first intake call. In call one, we're finding out where all your money is and what your interest rates are, including with your bank accounts, but also with your debt. So that way your debt becomes less of this like, I'm a horrible, irresponsible person thing, but into a numbers thing, where we go in and we start prioritizing debt. Okay, based off of your income, based off of if you happen to have stock or money, or a lot of my clients have random ass money that they didn't even know they had or they forgot about because they didn't think it was a lot. They might have $300 sitting there in Venmo, where I'm like, well, your credit card is accruing that much in interest a month. So let's take the money that's rotting in your Venmo account that's not paying any interest and is not insured, and use that to crush your debt with that money. That's how thorough we are in call one. We find out where little random piles of money are all over the place. And this goes with rolling over old 401ks as well, and rolling them over and finally getting that done after years of you telling yourself you should, but you don't because you don't want to feel dumb, or because of your money scarcity or avoidance is coming up, because you've inherited those patterns from your parents and you didn't know better. But it's time to do better and heal those money wounds together by taking action. So that's what we do in call one. We find out where all your money is all over the place, interest rates, how much cash do you have? Because I can tell immediately what needs to be moved where and how to better optimize things just by knowing where your money is. And it's empowering. I had a client too who didn't ever have all her money in one place. She didn't know her net worth. And she felt so empowered after just the first call, because that was the first time she'd ever seen all her money in one place. And it's exciting. It's a good thing to check your net worth. I check my net worth every day because I love seeing my money fluctuate. I love seeing it go up and down, but over the long term, it's going up because I'm being consistent. I don't check it out of fear. When the stock market is dipping, if anything, I put more money into the stock market, which is what you're supposed to do. When people are freaking out, you put more money in. When people are quiet, that means the stock market's popping. And that's when, if you need to sell stock to add to your cash flow, like I have, that's when you sell, or you can just hold and do nothing. Doing nothing is a strategy once you understand it. But doing nothing out of fear is not a strategy. So that's the second question. Where's your debt? What are your interest rates? What kind of debt do you have? And I encourage you to plug your debt amounts into a debt payoff calculator. You can just Google like bank rate debt payoff calculator and just put the numbers in. I have 14K in student loan debt or 50K in student loan debt at a 4% interest rate, and then see the monthly payments and see how much of that is going to interest. I feel like once my clients see how much in interest they're paying a month, that lights a fire under their ass to be even more aggressive with their loan payments instead of just paying the minimum because the company is telling you to. Paying the minimum is the worst thing because that is going to drag out your loan payments because these lenders have time on their side. They want to drag it out. They want to have their minimum payments be so low so that you end up paying them way more in interest than you need to if you were to just get on top of your debt payoff plan, which is what we do in coaching. So that's the second thing I would ask myself. Where's my debt? What are my interest rates? Just knowing is going to give you confidence and seeing it as a numbers game instead of avoiding it out of guilt or fear, because that's what these lenders want. That's what capitalism wants. They want us to stay scared. So we don't optimize our money and just stay down and stay oppressed. But I'm not about that life. The third question I would ask in your mid-year money check-in is, have you maxed out your Roth IRA? Your Roth IRA is your individual retirement account that you open yourself, that you fund with earned income. So if you're not working, you can't be funding it unless you have a spouse who opens one for you. They can open up a spousal IRA, which I had one queer client do that for her wife. She was working and her spouse was unemployed at the moment. So I helped her open up a spousal IRA, and she contributed for her spouse's retirement, which is the ultimate love language. Like, if my spouse were to do that for me, like, I'm never divorcing your ass because you are bought into my financial future and money as security. And I just think that's the sexiest thing ever. So shout out to Melissa for doing that for your spouse. So if you are employed and making earned income, that is my number one account. And I like the Roth accounts. I don't like the pre-tax IRAs. I don't like the regular schmegular IRAs. If it's not Roth, I don't like it as much. I'm a Roth freak because I'm all about paying taxes now so I don't have to later. My retirement accounts are all Roth, because I'm trying to pay taxes now that I'm younger in a low tax bracket and have less money, so that when that money grows to millions of dollars, I'm not being forced by the IRS to take it out. Because if you're not doing Roth retirement accounts, if you're just doing regular individual retirement accounts or regular 401ks, the IRS is watching and they're going to be like, okay, when you're in decades from now or however old you are, when you're 72, they're going to start knocking at your door and start forcing you to start taking out hundreds of thousands of dollars, even millions, because you did not pay taxes today when you could have. So that's why I'm a Roth freak now, and I will always be. And I also don't want to worry about tax brackets when I'm 72. I don't trust our government now. They're not taxing billionaires like they should. People who are not billionaires get taxed way more than billionaires do. So I don't trust the government to magically fix things by the time I'm in my 70s. So this is all the things that doing your due diligence now and focusing on what you can control now is huge as a long-term investor. So I myself personally max out my Roth IRA the first week of January, and that's been non-negotiable for me as a low-income earner. I have to make it non-negotiable because if I don't, then I won't retire early. And I don't dream of labor, even though I love what I do, but I am trying to have that work optional, truly 100% retirement where I'm taking first class flights. That's a big goal of mine. I've not yet done that yet, but I will. And I want to work when I want to, not because I have to. Like, I'm 35, I have chronic health issues, I have eczema, inflammation, despite eating very healthily, and I'm already tired. I just had an iron infusion last week that knocked me out because I realized I was anemic. The nurses were like, have you been dealing with fatigue? I'm like, who isn't? We're all exhausted. We're all tired. And I don't know if I'm feeling better already. It might be placebo. I think I am, but I don't know. I think it takes a few days to kick in. But I'm so happy that I'm still taking care of my health, but it's still a lot. Taking care of your health is a full-time job and it takes money. Like, I decided to see the dermatologist again and I had to make so many calls to find one in network. And And I was able to get one in-network scheduled after 2 months out. And I was like, I don't want to wait 2 months. So I went and found somebody out of network that did not take my insurance and paid $145 to be able to see them. And a week has passed and they're still trying to get prior authorization on some meds. They're still taking a while, despite me having the cash up front and building enough wealth so that it didn't inconvenience me. It was just more of an annoyance, but it didn't derail my wealth building plans or retirement plans to pay out of pocket. So yeah, life costs money, being healthy costs money, taking care of yourself costs money. But I'm so happy that I know to max out my Roth IRA. I know how much to put in my investment accounts, and I know exactly what to invest in, which is, that ties into, have you maxed out your Roth IRA? It's cool if you put in the $7,500 a year, but if you're not investing it, then you might as well just have your money rotting in a checking account. The first part is investing it, maxing it out. What's the annual limit? Putting that in ASAP so you capture the entire year's worth of gains. But you also need to understand what you're investing in, which is what I help all my clients do. I have clients of all different income levels of investment knowledge, and I help all of them switch out of crappy investments and into better ones. Because you don't know what you don't know. I have a lot of clients who come to me having invested in robo-advisors that are just online algorithm financial advisors like Betterment, or Schwab has a robo-advisor too, which I get it. I used to invest in them because no one taught me how to do any of this. But then once I worked as a stockbroker and I learned how easy it is to invest yourself and how much more your money can grow when you just know what to invest in yourself, rather than using these robo-advisors or financial advisors that charge you fees. Even if they're no fee, they still pick funds that have way too much in fees. And I help my clients realize how much in fees each one of these investments they have, and I help them compare them line by line. I'm very transparent. I walk all my clients through breaking up with these crappy investments and into better investments that do their job and are charging you 10, 20, 30, 40 times less in fees. You should not be paying fees for storing your cash, and you should be paying minimal fees for investing. And so I'm all about self-investing, doing it yourself without needing to check the stock market or day trade or do any of that. It's just all about knowing how to max out your retirement accounts, what the limits are, because they go up every year because of inflation, and what to invest in consistently. I invest in the same funds that I've invested in since I learned how to manage investments myself. So it does not have to be that complicated. I think the biggest hurdle is people being afraid of messing up, so they keep their money in crappy investments or stock they bought in COVID that they don't understand, they know they need to get out of, but they're still in that fear or living in that shame of picking the wrong stock that their ex or their uncle told them to. Just because they were men does not mean that they knew what they were doing. Let me tell you, the smarter investors were not the men. Once they understood what they were doing, it was the women that were more intentional investors when I was a stockbroker. But unfortunately, 90% of the calls that came in were men, and they knew what to ask me. They were like, what's the stock market doing? When's the Fed meeting? All this stuff that they could just Google themselves, but they knew that I could Google it for them. So I was a glorified Googler. So now I call Schwab and I ask brokers, hey, what's going on in the stock market? I just did this on Monday because I transferred $4,000 into my solo Roth 401k, which as a self-employed person, that's the replacement to the 401k, that if you're at the 9 to 5, that's the account that I have to fund myself. So I decided to put some money in because the stock market dipped, right? I'm embodying what I'm teaching. Stock market dipped and people are freaking out, but I was like, time to buy more. Let's put 4K total in. And I asked the broker, what are the biggest market movers? What's going on? And he was like, oil stocks are up and tech is kind of down. I was like, cool, okay. But I wouldn't have known that that's something I can ask somebody if I hadn't worked in finance and worked as a stockbroker. But you don't need to do this stuff. I'm just like a nerd, and I like being able to ask them questions that usually it was unfortunately only cishet white men knew to ask them. And so why not? They're getting paid and I'm a nice person. So I'd rather them talk to me than some asshole, because there are plenty of assholes. When I worked as a stockbroker, I was working at a call center, and there were plenty of clients that would just call in and they were just bored and lonely, which I think that lit a fire under my ass to have a fulfilled life and use wealth to help others and be fulfilled and show up and do these podcasts for free, do IG lives, post content, educational content to help my people build wealth. Because, I remember this old white woman. She was like 80, and we could tell she would call in every day just to ask what her account balance was. Because when you're investing, especially at the millionaire level, your accounts can go up and down by $50,000 in a day. And she was just so mean and angry. And I just felt so sorry for her because she was clearly just sitting alone in her house. And the one thing she'd look forward to was calling to ask us how her investments were doing. And I was like, I will never be like that. So I feel like that is why I have such a clear view of what I want my retirement to look like, who I want to be in retirement. And I'm already embodying that now through my mindset work and through doing these money check-ins. So in summary, the 3 questions you should be asking yourself right now, now that it's mid-year, is where's your cash and what are the interest rates? Do you have account minimum fees? You probably do if you're at Chase or Bank of America or Wells Fargo. And I challenge you to open your high yield savings account and move that money over today. It takes 10 minutes. The other question to ask yourself is where's your debt and what are your interest rates on your debt? And that challenge for you is to plug those amounts into a debt payoff calculator. Again, it takes 10 minutes or less to just see over time how much you're paying in interest. If you're just paying the minimum, you might be paying $800 in interest. What if you pay $20 more than the minimum or double the minimum payment? What if you go from paying $100 a month to $500 this month just because you can go ham because you got a bonus? That might lower your interest payments to $200 a month. So play around with those numbers and see debt just as a tool, a strategic tool that you can optimize. But it's better to go ham now on your debt than drag it out because they want you to drag it out. The last question to ask is, have I maxed out my Roth IRA? The limit, if you're under age 50, is $7,500 for this year. So I would definitely max that out. If you're making that amount in earned income, it is post-tax. You pay taxes now, but then you never have to worry about paying taxes on that growth. Because even if you just invest $7,500 this year, that amount's going to grow to $100K in a few decades. And I've maxed this account out since I learned about them less than 10 years ago, and my Roth IRA is already over $100K in less than 10 years of investing. Just seeing the growth has been wild, and it's exciting to see the growth once you understand what you're doing. And so that's what I help all my clients do. So if you're interested in getting help with your money, if all of these questions made you think, dang, I should be doing this, but I haven't, and I've been avoiding it for days, weeks, months, decades, it's time to get started. And I invite you to book a sales call at the link in the show notes to start 6-month one-on-one coaching. I do weekly tracking where you submit your wins every week. You get access to WhatsApp me with any questions. You can voice note me with anything you need to talk through in between calls. Share your wins. It's not just about questions, but it's also about celebrating you and sharing your wins that you might not feel comfortable telling your friends. Like I will be twerking my ass off celebrating that you got that 11K bonus instead of seeing you as somebody that's like greedy or arrogant or capitalistic. It's not about that. So you get access to my exclusive money coaching curriculum that clients get access to, videos on where to put your savings accounts, how to optimize passive income through credit card rewards, a breakdown of all the different investment accounts and how to invest in them, as well as help with diversifying income streams through starting a business and managing business finances. Whether you're a full-time business owner or you're thinking about starting a business to not depend on your employer, it's important to track your business results and your revenue and start optimizing that. When you're not depending on a business for income is the best time to optimize your finances. And I think financial stress is a huge reason why a lot of business owners start businesses but then quit and go back to the 9-to-5 because they just don't understand how to optimize their business finances. So that's something that I also help clients. I have clients of all ages, income levels, 9-to-5, corporate clients, and also full-time business owners. I got a little bit of mix of both. No matter how much you make or how old you are or what you do, I help you optimize every single dollar across your cash, debt, and investments so that you can be your sugar daddy who retires early. All right. So I hope you loved this episode. I'm super excited to get back into these. And I'll see you in the sales call and join my Dom Your Dinero emails for all the updates My people love my email list, and I love y'all for subscribing. All right, y'all. Have a good day. Bye.